r/TalesFromRetail, episode 22. I thought it was a fancy humidifier. So I work at an older women's clothing store, and as many clothing stores do, we have an industrial steamer to get the wrinkles out of new products so they look presentable. We also have to steam the products next to the registers because we don't have enough staff to be prepping things in the back. If you've never used a steamer before, they get insanely hot. You can very easily burn yourself if you're not careful. Even just putting it 5 inches away from your skin long enough can give you a nice red mark. Now onto the story. A younger girl and her friend were browsing products near our registers while I was steaming some shirts to be put out. I noticed one of the shirts was missing a sensor, so I turned to grab a set, and while I was walking the 5 steps back I noticed the girls making a beeline for the steamer. I swear it was almost a slow motion moment. My brain couldn't register fast enough that the girl was reaching to grab onto the steamer's head. She held onto it for around 2 seconds before she yelped and jumped back. Oh my god, it's hot. I stood there in disbelief for a second that this girl literally just decided to grab a steamer. Are you okay? I said, still dumbstruck. Yeah, I'm fine. I just thought it was a fancy humidifier. The girl and her friend turned to leave, laughing at what she just did the whole way out. Thankfully she was fine, but I still don't know why she thought a store would have a humidifier, nonetheless reached to grab the source of the steam. Ever since I've been super anxious when people even get close to it when it's on. A slightly wholesome story about a formerly odd customer. For background, I'm a section head in a store that sells everything from home goods to clothing to groceries. I've worked in my store for a dozen years. About a year ago we had a woman who would come into our store, and she was a bit off. She always wore the same clothes. She would come in daily. She would make grandiose claims that she worked for the store, she was in our loss prevention, she was a police officer, she was a doctor, she was a lawyer, she was in the government, etc. Creating problems but not significant enough she was a major issue. We took to referring to her as Crazy Asian Lady when discussing our interactions. Nobody had seen her for a long time in the last month or so she's been showing up again. She's always in different clothes now. She doesn't make grandiose claims of her employment. She's pretty normal. I'm glad she got the help she needed and is doing better. Sorry it's so short, but I wanted to share something nice. I wish this was a crank call. I work customer service for one of the big 2 hardware chains in the US. I received a very unusual phone call this morning. Me equals me SG equals super genius me. Thank you for calling Big Box Hardware. How may I help you? SG, very angry. I bought some bird seed from you about a week ago. I planted it, but no birds grew. What did I do wrong? Me. At first I was waiting for her to laugh and hang up. This has to be a crank call. No one could be that dumb. SG continues, sounding extremely annoyed. Do I need to water them more? What else do I need to do? Me, okay. You do know that you cannot grow birds from bird seed, right? Still waiting for her to start laughing. SG huffs loudly, well, someone should have told me that before I bought it. She was completely serious. The rest of the conversation was her trying to find out how to return the remaining bird seed. Without a receipt, of course. I will be very interested to see if she comes in this weekend. Lady yelled at me because I talked to her son. I work at a grocery store that has a pharmacy. It has all the basic stuff and even has its own blood pressure machine. One day, I was doing go backs, putting stuff away, and I noticed this little boy playing with the blood pressure machine. He was pressing all the buttons and putting his arm in the hole where the compression part is. In my most polite kid-friendly voice I said, could you please not play with that? It's not a toy. I smiled and the kid stopped playing with it. His mother, who was at the pharmacy with a baby, snapped her head around to look at me, and I will never forget what she said to me. You can't talk to him without my permission. I looked at her a little shocked, said sorry, and left. I was fuming. She knew her son shouldn't have been playing with it, and I knew he shouldn't have been playing with it. He could either hurt himself or break the machine. But what could I do? I'm just a lowly bagger. Oh well.